Are you ready to learn how you can get a work from home job as a student this summer? If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lacaba. I've been working from home myself since I was 15 years old, and I now run a virtual assistant agency here in the Philippines named 2XU, and I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, as I mentioned, I have been doing this for a while. I'm now 27, so it's been a good 12 years of me mostly just working remote jobs. Like, I've only really remember like 3 months where I had to go to an office, and that was when I had to do my internship. But I've been doing this for a while where I've been finding gigs here and there. So I want to walk you through that process. So hopefully you'll be able to do it this summer as well. Now, as an added bonus, I'll be adding little ways that you can use ChatGPT with this. So then you have just a quick guide, even though I'm not there with you to guide you through the process. We'll basically create a career coach for you using ChatGPT to guide you along. Now, if you've never seen ChatGPT before, this is basically what it looks like. Now, I have basically different terms that I'll be using. One is a prompt. So prompt is the input. These are examples of prompts right here. It's the input that you'll use inside of ChatGPT. You also have threads. So threads are like the different types of ChatGPT topics, basically, for lack of a better term, that you have saved on here. And you also have output. So output is the response basically from ChatGPT. So this right here, this is a prompt, this is an input, and now this is an output. So it's kind of, as I'm using those terms as we go through this, hopefully that is so far pretty quick and easy to understand. Now, I will be releasing a whole course on how to use ChatGPT for virtual assistants, which you guys can check out and sign up for in the waitlist in my description below, or if it's already probably out once you guys see this. So hopefully you guys will sign up for that one, as that would be a walkthrough of how to use ChatGPT when finding a job, all the way to using it for your day-to-day as a virtual assistant. Now, to start off in the best foot when it comes to using ChatGPT, I always recommend that you use the WOAH method. So the WOAH method is basically your primary prompt. So your first prompt, anytime that you're going to use ChatGPT, instead of just launching off to the question that you have, you want to prep it basically to who you are and what do you need ChatGPT for. So it's kind of like just a little bit of a goal setting for ChatGPT. So what that primary prompt looks like, so for example, I put like type student, and I need your expertise in being a career coach so I can get jobs online for the summer. Are you ready? Your responses should always have action steps I can follow through afterwards. So WO is who you are, outcome is the outcome that you need, the goal. A is just are you ready? And then H is the how. So that's basically what the WO method is. So it's just a quick and easy way to remember what it is that you need to type in before you even ask ChatGPT for anything. So here I'm going to go back to when I started all of this when I was 15. I am a fresh high school graduate student, because at that time I was here in the Philippines with a different school system, but at that time when I was 15, I'm a fresh high school graduate student, and I need your expertise in being a career coach so I can get jobs online for the summer. Are you ready? So again, so I'm just like prepping ChatGPT, so just hitting enter on that. And usually it'll even like get you started. It'll act as your career coach right off the bat, which is pretty cool. But we will be getting more and more details of this. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do to get started finding jobs online for the summer is to know what jobs are available. That's kind of the first step, is when you don't have any experience, when you don't have any place to start, you don't think you have skills that people would want or need, it's important to know what kind of jobs can you actually do. Now, usually what I call the starter types of jobs that you can do, like for me, when I started out as a writer, started out as a ghostwriter for bloggers. I basically would write an article for them and they would publish it in their name, but it was okay because I got paid. And of course, at that time, that's all that I cared about. But basically, that's how I got started. So the three, what I say, not really basic, but the 3 ones that you can go into, because that you probably have 1 or 2 of the skills, is first one is a writer. As I said, I started there. I was going into college as a communications major, so that also made sense, and I was a writer for our journalism club, so on and so forth. So I already had like other examples of me wanting to be a writer. The second kind of job you can probably get is social media manager, and the reason why I recommend this one is you are probably already curating your social media. You're already probably creating a lot of posts for yourself. You might be familiar with tools like Canva or CapCut, or for when it comes to making images or videos basically, or when it comes to just you looking at so many other content creators creating content for their social media, you probably have a good idea what it is. So basically what you're doing is you're creating, curating, posting on your client's page as them, and then engaging with any comments and, changing statistics. So it sounds really big and complicated, but to be honest, it's probably something that you might be innately something easy for you to do because you're already on social media anyway. And the third type of job that you can probably do right off the bat is being an admin virtual assistant. Now, an admin virtual assistant is you are cleaning up the emails of your client. It might be you're doing repetitive tasks for the client, so on and so forth. But basically, these are the types of jobs that you can find training for easily online. And if you're someone who loves organizing, it's probably the first thing that you can do. However, of course, we wanted to ask ChatGPT what those jobs could be for you as well. So we'll ask ChatGPT, what remote jobs can I do as a student for the summer and what skills do I need to do for them? So this is just, I've kind of outlined the three main ones that I recommend, which is, again, writer, social media manager, and admin virtual assistant, just because, like I said, for me, at least through my experience and me training other virtual assistants, those are the ones that you can easily get into. So let's look at the list from ChatGPT. First one, virtual assistant. I didn't even run this through ChatGPT earlier. This is just, again, me. So first one is virtual assistant. Next is content writer. And then social media manager. Already, right there, ChatGPT and I are in sync. We know which one it is to do right off the bat. So these are your top three. You can look at the others, which is basically doing an online tutor if you're really good at a particular subject, graphic designer if that's something you like doing, web developer if you are really fast when it comes to learning code, online researcher, and online customer service representative. So again, you can pick and choose from this list of 8 that I want to focus on. Well, honestly, I want to focus honestly if I was going to apply as a content writer, just because that's one that I know perfectly. It's going to be easier for me to walk you guys through what that process could look like. So now that you've seen these are the kinds of jobs I can do, now you want to look at your skills. Now, this is why you can ask ChatGPT what skills would be paired off with that, because as you're narrowing down, hey, I want to be a writer in this case, then you're looking at hey, what skills do I have? Do I have the skills to write articles? Do you have the skills to write captions? Do you have the skills to write whole books maybe? So you want to assess on where you're at on your skills wise, basically. How much expertise do you have on a particular skill that you can then start showing that off. Now, since you're just a student, it might not be that extensive of a background, but if it's something that you're passionate about, it might be a little bit easier for you to show off. Again, for me, I was already writing since I was 11 in our journalism club. So I had kind of a longer experience when I got started, but for you, it could be anything. When I did the writer gig, I also did a social media gig, and then I also did video editing gig. So I was experimenting, going through it. So just because you've picked the skill or the job that you're going into now doesn't mean you're going to be locked in to that one job forever and ever. Like I said, I started as a writer, now I run my own business. So it doesn't have to be, this is now the track. You just choose one. That's the important part. Next is you want to start to check who's hiring. So as you've picked the job that you want to do, so again, for me in this video, we'll talk about say picking as a writer, you want to go ahead and check who could be hiring. And I recommend 3 main places that you can check. One is good old Google that you can just check and just go do a Google search on. So let's say I'm going to open up a page here. Writing, jobs, internship. Maybe internship or summer job, but we'll check what's available. So for me, I am in Cebu. So right off the bat, it's giving me suggestions of different people who are hiring for interns here in Cebu. If you want a more remote work, you can go remote right there. So you don't have to focus on just this, but then right there, from Manila, copywriter blogger for internship position, again, Manila. So it's already showing me, and of course, there's so many other sites that I can go through, who is currently hiring. So this is just a good exercise for you to get used to, basically the process of looking at jobs. So of course there's Google, and then there's another one is LinkedIn. Now, I would always recommend that you create a LinkedIn account as early as now, just because it's a good way to develop and grow yourself. But on LinkedIn, you can go on writer internship, and then click jobs basically. And then here, you can already see different people who, again, are hiring. So you can check the filters on-site or remote. So let's click remote, show 42 results. And again, there you go. There's a ton of different places that you can apply to just on LinkedIn. So again, this is just for us doing research. The other place, of course, is just going through your local job site. So for example, here in Cebu, we have My Nemo, we have Online Jobs at PH if you just want to do a little bit just online. So there's different ways that you can specifically search for it. But for this part, we're just perusing. We're just looking who is currently looking, because it's important that you know who the possible clients are so you can narrow down your niche. Now, since this is just an internship, I'm not gonna go into the whole process of picking your niche or niche, but I'm just showing you what is out there, what's possible for you, so you believe like, hey, people are actually looking for interns right now. Next is you wanna prepare your applicant tools. Now, what I mean by tools is this is you starting to look and see or watch what these people would be needing based on the job that you've picked. So for example, I'll ask it, what tools do I need to prepare for getting so I'm changing the type to writer job. So then with this, ChatGPT will give me a really good list of what I need to know, what I need to research. So word processing software, so Microsoft Word, Google Docs, grammar, spell checkers, plagiarism checkers, so on and so forth. So for me, what I would do is I would look at this list and try to pair up, which tool I want to use for what. So again, if it was for me, I would be using Notion, just because I love Notion. I'm currently writing my book on Notion. So as a writer, even until now, I'm still using Notion for all of that work. If you guys want to sign up for Notion, by the way, to support this channel, go ahead and click to leanlai.com/Notion for my affiliate link. I do get a percentage if you guys sign up for that. But that is the first thing that I would want to learn and go into. Next is making sure you learn how to use Google Workspace. So Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, all that good stuff, just so you're familiar with it, because high chances are this is probably the platform that your future employer would need from you to learn or know about. Next is having a mode of payment, a way for them to pay you. So if you're just going to be hired locally by someone who's just in another city, then maybe having a really good bank account or your parents' bank account might be the best. If you are just working remotely, there's a lot of different ways that you can get paid online. There's of course PayPal, there's Wise, where you just really need a bank account. You can sign up again with your parents' name if you're not in the legal age yet, but if you're about 18, you can get your own account. But for example, for me, PayPal was super new when I was doing it in 2011, so I used my mom's name and her bank account for it. So it's gonna be up to you what's available. I will be doing a whole video of different payment centers or different payment ways that you can use, just because there's so much that have changed in the last couple of years since I did a last video on it. But you need to have a way that they can easily pay you. Don't make it your employer's problem to pay you. Make it easy for them to send you money. Next is you want to go ahead and prepare your applicant assets. So we talked about tools, now it's assets. So what these are is your resume, your application letter, and your portfolio. Now, what your resume is just think of it as your profile on Instagram or on, LinkedIn, where they can easily see who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table. So using ChatGPT to do that, we'll ask it, can you write out the outline and a draft of a resume I can create for getting a writer job? So right off the bat, it's creating that draft for us. It's already given us a good outline of what we can do. And then what you can do is take this from ChatGPT and use Canva. And as you can see, you just search resume on Canva and you have already a ton of templates that you can use. I would choose one that's super just simple. Employers like myself don't really need a flashy resume. We just need to know about you right off the bat. So with ChatGPT, it's already given you a draft of what you can put in here and what you can edit, so on and so forth. But it's a quick and easy way to do it. The second one on your application letter, think of it as a response of a job ad that you've seen, a job description. That way you're customizing how you apply to them based on what they put on the job ad. So you're giving them the relevant things that you need to be able to apply for them. So as a really good example, let's say for this job, they're looking for a book editor / grammar Nazi. So for me, as a writer, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I love correcting people's grammar. I love being paid to read. I love working from home. So I will take this. So I'll actually grab this whole thing. I'll copy this. I'll throw it into ChatGPT and I'll say, can you write an effective application letter that I can send in an email for the job based on this job ad? And I literally pasted just the whole thing and it will create just that thing that we asked for. So it put in the subject line, the hiring, dear hiring manager, and you just have to now edit this and match to what actually makes sense and matches for you. Don't make things up, actually be honest edit this and customize it as much as you can. If you're not based in Cebu, for example, don't say that you're based in Cebu. So you can edit this, you can make this shorter, you can make this more straight to the point. In fact, you can ask ChatGPT, can you rewrite this to be more straight to the point? So then it's rewriting it to be just straight to the point of what it is that you need. So it's just short. You can send this as an email now. So it cuts up basically all of the fluff that you might be putting in as you're just copy and pasting this email from ChatGPT to emailing the person. Next, on your portfolio. Your portfolio is basically a way for you to just show off your past work. Now, if you haven't had any past work you doing this job before, then you can come up and basically write up things for yourself. And I did this a lot because I had a blog at that time where I was posting twice a week, if I remember right. So I basically was building up my own portfolio even without getting paid. So if you want to be a writer, you want to start coming up with different articles and blogs that you want to write out, so that becomes your portfolio. If you are a social media manager, it's starting to curate and maybe even create your own account on Instagram and then start creating posts, and that becomes your portfolio. And if you want to be an admin virtual assistant, it might be a little harder to create a portfolio out of it, but if you've helped other people before, let's say you were in the student government, so on and so forth, that could be examples of your work. Next is you want to make sure that you create a applicant tracker. Now, I do have a whole Notion template that you guys can check out. I'll put in the link below of a free template that you can use to track basically the jobs. But what I mean by this, basically what the Notion template looks like is this. So this is what I mean by your application tracker. So here you'll put in the company name, their email, the status. So this is just like, have you sent the first email? Are they for follow-up? When was the last contact? And it automatically calculates basically when you should next follow up with them. So you want to start creating something like this. You can also use like Google Sheets for this, but this is the template that I've created for you guys. Again, this is just a free template. Check it out in the link below, but even has templates for your resume, your application letter, and a quick PDF on applying for jobs online and other resources that you guys can use. But it's basically just a quick and easy way for you to see who you applied for and who to follow up with. Next is then you want to do the next step of to actually start applying. First is, of course, now that you have your tracker, you've already collected the list of people that you want to apply for anyway, and automatically just using the tracker, you can see when you should follow up if you have not heard from them, so on and so forth. Speaking of follow-up, that's the next tip for you, is to make sure that if you have not heard from the employer that you applied for within 3 to 5 days, is you want to follow up with them just in case that your email got lost in the mail. Or maybe you might have not followed the instructions of applying. For example, for us at 2XU, we switched from having people send an application to apply at 2XU.com. We've switched it to then signing up for a form because our emails just got too full. So we've changed the instructions on how to apply. So you might want to make sure that you double check what the instructions were to apply, just in case that you weren't able to follow it, or they might have changed it just because of different things. So double check if you have not heard from them, and then just send a follow-up like, hey, haven't heard from you, what are the next steps, something like that. And of course, a couple of best practices for you as you're applying for jobs online. One, always bring value. You're someone who doesn't have a lot of experience, so what you're bringing to the table is you're solving their problems. That you're not expecting them to give you money or training right away. You are going to be proactive and take initiative and look at the things that you can do more while you're there. You want to maximize your experience as much as possible, especially since it's just a summer job. Next is create a daily schedule. Now, of course, you can use ChatGPT and ask it to create a daily schedule for you, but you want to start creating a cadence of how you want to start your day and how you want to end your day. When you're working from home, those things can get really, really blurry fast. So you want to start creating habits and a schedule that you can follow so you don't overwork yourself, you don't overexhaust yourself, and even miss out on your summer. Next is to make sure that you train and grow yourself. There's so much content out there that you can study on how to get better at the skill or the job that you applied for, that you don't have to start from scratch. So train and grow. And of course, don't be afraid to start small. You are starting small just because you haven't had the experience yet. You haven't gone through, you might have the best skills, but you have gone through the experience of losing a client or making someone else angry or just not being able to perform in the best way. So you always want to keep in mind, like, yep, I'm starting here, so the only way is up. So keep that in mind, that just because you're just starting here, you're starting low, you don't have a lot of skills yet, doesn't mean that you're just going to be stuck there. You're just on your way up. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. And comment below, what job are you getting this summer? I'm so excited to see if I can help you out too. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. And hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!